Information fueled.
Opinion driven.
This is Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis.
And so, my fellow Americans,
We talk news.
8:06, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you, friends. Welcome on into a very snowy January 10th of 2025. Joan's at home in Manchester. I'm at home in Mount Juliet. Is it snowing really good? All right, I went ahead and I posted on X what's happening outside of my my front door.
I'll have to check yours out. I posted mine too.
Some dude was jogging.
What?
Yeah, some guy in my neighborhood. Some guy is jogging.
I used to love to run in the snow, though. That's kind of cool.
More power to him.
Yeah.
I was just kind of speechless. Like, okay, man. I kind of waved to him, and
as long as he didn't have shorts, he didn't have shorts on, did he?
No. And as I said, good for him, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't jog when it's 80, and he's out there and he's whatever. Anyway, so is there anybody on the roads, Joan? You've been doing traffic. Is there anybody out on the roads?
No.
Okay.
They're doing really well at this point, and they have that accident that was out on 24 cleared out now.
Right.
But I just did receive this. Listen to this craziness. 65 southbound at Briley Parkway, Ellington Parkway, at exit 90 right there. There's people walking in the median because their car stalled out. So they're walking in the median. Not a good idea.
Why would they do that? Like in the median? Like in the middle of the...
That's what it said. That's
people
what the
die by that
says, yeah.
more often than you think, too. That's scary. But Dan, I did respond to your snow post. If people want to check out your post, they could see what I responded with.
What did you hold on? What did you respond with?
I don't.
Joan, do you see it?
Yeah.
I can get. I'll let you react first.
This
that
is like
not snow.
My
this
snow's
is
bigger
snow.
than your snow.
Yeah. KGB posts response to my snow post. That's not snow. This is snow. KGB 1. Dan nothing. Whatever. Moving right on.
People are actually, speaking of people are actually driving on that little road on the back of our studio area. But I have seen those trucks with the snowplows in front of them.
Like private trucks?
Yeah, they're trying to get ahead of this, it looks like, from the outside. They're trying
Which
to get
is
ahead.
really smart.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is really smart. And let's see the power. I'm looking at I'm reading some of the comments on the super text line. 5547, of course, kids need to go to school. I walked to school in blizzards years ago. You know what the thing is? I used to live in Colorado when I was, I think, 11 or 12. When I was Riker's age, I lived in Colorado, and it took a lot for them to close schools. I remember, this is going to be one of those barefoot, uphill, both ways stories.
Yeah.
But I remember when I went to school in Colorado, my brother and I would not only walk to school in the snow, but do you know that we had to take public transportation? Like not even a school bus. We literally took a bus. Not a yellow school bus. We were taking the bus with all of the bums and all of the people going to work. Yeah, my brother and I. It was, I think back now and I want to say to my mom, what the hell were you thinking? But I can't do that because, she's... But anyway, yeah, so that we did. And, it built character. It built a little bit of toughness in yours truly. Although clearly not enough. Anyway.
Want to prove it?
No. Anyway, so it looks like Chick-fil-A and Wendy's, they're closed at Providence and Mount Juliet.
Oh.
Snowing in Smithville, so Springfield, Old Hickory, coming down real good now in Old Hickory by the lake. So, yeah, there's clearly now, I think it's all across Middle Tennessee. So, there you have it. There you go. Now, the smelt fish controversy, or as I'm saying, the smeltroversy. Donald Trump, everybody knows, if you've been listening to me, you know all about the smelt fish. This is the fish that the Democrats are trying to protect. And that's why they're not sending the water from Northern and Central California down to Southern California because it impacts the smelt fish. And Trump, he's been talking about the smelt fish.
Because they're trying to protect a tiny little fish, which is in other areas, by the way. called a smelt. And for the sake of a smelt, they had no water. They had no water in the fire hydrants. It was a terrible thing.
Do you know, I want to actually go eat a smelt fish just to piss off the Democrats. I don't know if you can do that, if you can go to a place and order a smelt fish just because you want one. But here's the thing. They have not seen a smelt fish in 6 years. So, couple of things. Number one, they're still trying to protect a fish that has long been gone. That's crazy. LA had a couple of good rains in the last couple of years, but because of all of the environmental concerns, they can't effectively move water from Central California to Southern California. They're trying to protect a fish that hasn't been seen in 6 years. This is from the LA Times. The Department of Water Resources also said officials have had to limit pumping from the Sacramento-San Joaquin River Delta this year because of environmental protections for native fish. The agency has said its ability to move water south through the system of aqueducts and reservoirs has been impacted by the presence of threatened and endangered fish species near the state's pumping facilities in the South Delta. And so the focus has been on this smelt fish, and they did a big story on this, and they're trying to figure out where these fish are.
For the 6th year in a row, no smelt have been found in the San Joaquin Delta. We'll tell you why that's a big deal.
That's a big deal because they've been trying to protect a fish that is literally gone.
This is a really complex issue. Californians are in need of water all over the state. But with a project like the Delta Tunnel, environmentalists say that the 50 species of fish that live in the Delta are at risk, as well as the wildlife and the people who depend on those fish.
All right, so here's the deal. You do have communities, people that are living around these lakes or reservoirs or whatever, and they do fishing and that kind of thing. But when you look at the overall scheme of things, it's really not complicated. The reporter said it's complicated, but it's really not. You've got tens of millions, hundreds of millions of people across the state of California that need access to that state's resources. And I said this in the 5-2. Those three words are really important. That state's resources, California's resources. The rain and the water, and I feel passionately about this because I used to live there and I know exactly what's going on, is those folks up north can't just lay claim to it being, quote unquote, their water. But people literally are saying this is their water.
I understand that they need water, but I mean, so do we. We have farms and agriculture and all the same things. It doesn't make sense why they can take our water.
This is about the livelihoods of all the folks that live around the fish.
The California Department of Water Resources said in a statement to CBS 13, the project has been designed to minimize and avoid potential impacts to native fish, and particularly listed salmonids and Delta smelt.
The last thing that we should be doing is building a boondoggle project that doesn't create a single gallon of water for anyone across our state. All it does is move water.
What an idiot Democrat. No, it doesn't create water. If we could create water, then we wouldn't have these issues at all. The water is captured and then it moves the water to Southern California. But the aqueducts and the reservoirs and this water transferring apparatus is interfering with the mighty smelt. And people are really upset now because they can't find any smelt.
For the 6th year in a row, the California Department of Fish and Wildlife have found no Delta smelt, a small endangered fish that's only found in the San Francisco estuary.
I think if it's gone, then it's not endangered. Literally, it's gone. And so that tells you a couple of things. Number one is that they failed at protecting the smelt, and then all of this was for nothing because Southern California doesn't have any water. And so they tried to protect the smelt. They failed, and they haven't found it for 6 years. You would have thought that maybe 4 years ago, when it was 2 years of no smelt, that they would have figured it out. So that's the problem with Southern California. The problem with Southern California is they put the smelt fish over people. That's the smeltroversy in California. the motto of the Democrat Party in California, putting fish over people. It is 8:16. Time to check the roads on WTN. 29 degrees right here in Nashville. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Weather today, a high of 33. Of course, we have snow in Mount Juliet. We have snow in Manchester, Nashville, everywhere across Middle Tennessee. It looks like it's snowing, and it is actually come down pretty good now here in northern Mount Juliet. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We've been talking about an awful lot today. There is some politics going on. Donald Trump is due to be sentenced today. You know what I find interesting? Amy Coney Barrett is part of the Supreme Court, of course, a Trump nominee. And she sided with the liberals on the Supreme Court. Trump was trying to get all of that nonsense blocked. And, of course, he's not going to. This is what I don't understand, and maybe somebody can explain it to me. If what Donald Trump did is so heinous, and I don't believe that what he did is anything literally at all, but the media and the Democrats, they've been just, bat crap crazy, heads exploding over what Donald Trump did. He's a convicted felon, don't you know? He needs to be sentenced. Just, 10 days? Yeah, 10 days before he becomes president of the United States. But they're sure to say that he's not going to receive any jail time. So I guess I'm a little confused. Like, did he do something so horrifically heinous that he should be in jail? Or did he, whatever he did, it must not have been that big of a deal, because they're not going to sentence him to any jail. And trust me when I say, I don't believe he should. I don't believe they should have even brought this case. But you have the Democrats and the media. They keep talking about how he is a convicted felon. He did all of these things. It's so horrendous and heinous and all these other things. But he's not going to get any jail time. Well, which is it? Because if what he did is so terrible, then shouldn't they be pushing for jail time? In other words, with no jail time, it seems to me like what they're doing is they are literally admitting that what Donald Trump did really isn't all that big of a deal. Well, then why exactly is it that they've made such a big deal about this over the last 4 years? Inquiring minds want to know. And so, as usual, I think, at least for me, it is clear that this is yet another indication. And anybody who's not brain dead, like Joe Biden or Kamala Harris, anybody who can actually think, has looked at this and realized that what the Democrats did and what these judges have tried to do is lawfare and tried to railroad Donald Trump since the very beginning. And this really didn't start 4 years ago, friends. This actually started 8 years ago when Donald Trump actually announced that he was running for president. It has just been nonstop. And now, of course, he's due to take office in 10 days. He's, again, not going to be sentenced. He is going to be sentenced, but he's not going to do jail time. And we'll have to see exactly what transpires today. I think that Trump, to be perfectly honest, he just wants to move on. We'll see what other legal options he has. It is 8:21 on Nashville's Morning News. Joan Jones has the news coming up at 8:30. Joan, what's coming up?
Well, one of the two girls in that Slender Man case from 2014, remember that one? She's just been released from a mental institution. Also, a report that just came out this morning sent the stock market futures tumbling. We'll tell you why. Those stories at 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. Dan Mandis here. Sorry. Thank you, Joan. I was turning my microphone down. Thank you, Joan.
Well done, Dan.
You know what? I think my brain is frozen this morning.
We're all a little loopy today.
I think we are, just because we're all. I don't know about you. I'm looking forward to going out playing in the snow. Riker's got his sled already, and this little, I don't know what you call it, but the little round thing that they sit in and you push it down.
A saucer.
Yeah, a snow saucer.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got that. We're preparing snowball fights, and as We talked about in the 5 o'clock hour, Amy has her mind and her heart set on going into the hot tub as it's snowing with mimosas and sangrias as well. I've got a very busy day ahead. However,
sounds like a wonderful day, really.
It is absolutely going to be a wonderful day. So just be careful out there, friends. Dan Mandis here. Looking ahead as we move into 2025, of course, what big events do you have planned? Whether it's a big corporate event, maybe a family reunion, maybe a wedding at your home. My friends at Nashville Tent and Awning, they can help you with an incredible enclosure that can be installed anywhere. Now, they've been around since 1884. That's right, Nashville Tent and Awning. They've been around since 1884. They are a Nashville institution, and they've worked with the likes of the Titans, Vanderbilt, and the Grand Ole Opry. Now, they're one of the top companies in Nashville. Think about your backyard. You can actually extend your living space with a backyard enclosure so you can enjoy it even here in the wintertime, even on a day like today when the snow is coming down. Now, if you have an event for work coming up, they can help you there as well with a tent or an enclosure. And they've got awnings for any style of building that'll improve the look and the feel of your home or office. The opportunities are limitless with my friends at Nashville Tent and Awning. Get some visuals and check it out at their website, ntaco.com, ntaco.com. Call them, tell them Dan told you to reach out, 615-329-3701, 615-329-3701. As always, tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. Solid craftsmanship and built to last since 1884. Nashville Tent and Awning.